Mr. Hikind?
Thank you very much. I just want to make a comment first that the issue raised by Mr. Fitzpatrick is an extremely real issue. And if a gay couple, if this becomes law, wants to hold their wedding in Williamsburg at the Satmar group, one of the Hasidic groups, because they have a hall, or they want to hold their function at a different institution in my community, in Borough Park, and many other parts of the state, then that institution will be obligated to permit that to happen. And that is an issue that is very, very real. The way the debate has been framed, and it's brilliant, and it's wonderful, and it's sensitive, and it's touching, and it is. It is. No one is callous. No one doesn't feel here. You know, the terms that have been used today, 2 years ago when we did the debate, that supporting this legislation is in the interest of being a decent, humane society. So if you support it, you are for a decent, humane society. You are for civil rights if you support this bill. You are for doing the right thing if you support this bill. You are for human rights if you support this bill. You're against discrimination if you support this bill. And someone said it's about leading, being a leader by supporting this bill. Well, I want to reassure all of those who don't support the bill that you are not guilty of any of those things. You are not guilty of any of those things. I am for human rights as much as anyone. I am for civil rights. I have witnessed anti-Semitism personally, but even beyond that, I grew up in a home where my mother told me about what it was like to go to Auschwitz, and her mother and her sisters and brothers go straight to the gas chambers. So I know about discrimination as much as anyone. You know, the argument is, it's been made, it's about letting people express themselves, letting people be happy. Why deny anyone their happiness? And I don't want to deny anyone their happiness. Why? I'm not that kind of person. I want people to be happy. I love happy people. But the question is, should there be boundaries? And there was an objection to what I said 2 years ago, and I'm sorry that it upset some people, but the point is, there are other forms of behavior, that make people happy. All kinds of behavior. You know, in Canada right now, where gay marriage is permissible, there is a court case. You know, someone who has 17 wives thinks that's perfectly fine in light of the legislation in Canada which permits gay marriage. Look, I would love nothing else but to say to my colleagues who support the bill, you know, I'm with you. I want you to be happy. I want you to live the life that you want to live. But the issue for me, and for many others, I don't have much of a choice. That's right, I don't have a choice. The issue to me is the Bible, the Torah. The issue you have with maybe what I said or others are saying, you know, it's not about, you know, shame on you, shame on God. That's what it is. It's not shame on me. If it was up to me and the Bible was not an issue and what I believe in was not an issue, I might very well, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't support this legislation. It would be perfectly fine with me. It is about God. It is about what I believe, you know, God wants. And I don't separate, you know, being the political figure and being the individual. How do you do that? How do you do that? I know a lot of people do it, but how do you do that? I have principles. I stand for something. You want me to abandon those principles? You know, God does not change his mind. Man changes his mind. You know, God laid out rules. I don't understand all of them, by the way. I don't understand many of them. But I can't pick and choose. I cannot pick and choose. Those rules are the items that are acceptable and not. We do the portion of the week in every synagogue all over the world in the Orthodox community. And just a couple of weeks ago, we read the portion that deals with what we are doing here today. You know, God is not a Democrat. God is not a Republican. In fact, God is not a politician, to the best of my knowledge. God does not flip-flop on the issues either. And it's perfectly fine for people to change their minds. But this legislation undermines the very foundation of traditional marriage. And I just want to mention, because I got this on my desk today, we got a letter, all of you I assume got this letter, from our new United States Senator, who wrote to me. She said, Dov Hikind, support this legislation. Now, where was she a couple of months ago when she was a congresswoman from a local community here that is more conservative? Suddenly, Gillibrand is telling me that I support gay marriage. I'd love to know how she came to that conclusion personally. I'm sure politics had nothing to do with it. I'm sure that played absolutely no role. It was principle. It was morality. It was about being fair. And by the way, what makes me especially feel good today is that I can stand here and say that my position is the same as the President of the United States, who is against gay marriage. Same position he has. I could read you his actual statements if you like. And the Vice President of the United States, and the Secretary of State. Are they against human rights? Are they against the things that those who support this bill are for? This is very, very difficult, as I said. My guide, not that I'm perfect, I'm far from it, but I can't stand here and deny what God says clearly, unequivocally to me and to hundreds of millions of others all over the world. I can't do that. You can. It is your prerogative. It is your right. And I urge everyone to consider seriously what we are doing here today. Thank you very much.